again, everyone, and welcome back to another Overcomer series, part 2, with the lovely Mariana. It is pronounced Mariana,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
That's perfect.
Mariana.
Yes.
And welcome back, Mariana. Shame you seem to have had a bit of a torrid night again last night. How are you doing?
Yes. Thank you, Chantal. Thank you again for this opportunity to expose these crimes against humanity on this
Yeah,
platform. So it's a great honor. Thank you so much. And yes,
absolutely.
yes, I did have a rough night last night. As usual, every single night they do extreme forms of torture. And last night was very extreme as well. They woke me up at around, I went to bed so early last night because I was so exhausted. I went to bed like at 9:30 o'clock at night. And they woke me up at around 1:15 o'clock in the morning, and it was extreme torture from there. The rest of the night they just kept waking me up repeatedly, like every 15, 20, 30 minutes, with extreme torture. They were vibrating my body violently. I mean, this vibration, as we were speaking about this a little bit before, this vibration is a noxious stimuli. I have 6 years of experience working in medical facilities. So in medical terms, we call it a noxious stimuli. This is kind of like the kind of thing that would wake the dead. It's a noxious stimuli. They do like a full body vibration, but as perverted as they are, they vibrate my pelvic area. And then they zap my genitals very severely. It's almost like your genitals are being electrocuted repeatedly for hours and hours at a time. And or like somebody is kicking at your genitals repeatedly, pretty severely. And
Wow.
so they do these things for hours and hours at a time. They make me belch repeatedly, very extremely severely, often for hours at a time. They move my eyeballs, like you can feel your eyeballs going to the back of your head and rolling back and forth and back and forth, and this way and that way and this way and that way. And they put explicit pornography in my eyes when my eyes are closed, and you just want to sleep and at least rest your eyes and close your eyes. But when my eyes are closed, they put actual pornography in my eyes, forcing me to open my eyes, and with the rolling of the eyeballs that lasts hours at a time, you can't even keep your eyes closed to rest. So all of those things and more. And then they were putting severe pain in my belly, something, and I could feel my belly bloating out just horrifically. It just feels like a balloon that's just being stretched out painfully. So they were putting pain and bloating in my belly, and that lasted for the rest of the night until I got up out of bed. So that's typical. It gets really extreme sometimes, and they do extreme torture every single night. So it's
Wow.
but it's variable. Sometimes it's less extreme, and sometimes it's more extreme. But yeah.
Is there anything, I mean, that you have found during the night that lessens this? I mean, if you have to get up, walk around, cup of tea, maybe, does that make any difference to the severity of what's going on?
It really doesn't. And actually, I spent thousands of dollars on shielding technologies. So I invested thousands of dollars. I even made my own Faraday cage. And I mean, that's the thing that would work. If something would work, that's what would work.
What's a
So
Faraday cage? Excuse my ignorance. What is a
no,
Faraday
not at all.
cage?
Yeah, sure, fine. A Faraday cage is it's made out of a metal. So I used 100% pure copper metal, and it's an enclosure. It's a metal enclosure, and it's a completely enclosed space. And you do ground it to an electrical cord. So I grounded it, and I made it out of pure 100% copper mesh, and it's supposed to block electromagnetic, mostly electro waves, frequencies within the electromagnetic spectrum of frequencies. So if that didn't work, like I mentioned in our last session,
Mm,
scalar waves do not get blocked by anything. Scalar waves can go through and through planet Earth, as Nikola Tesla found.
yeah.
So a lot of people who have the most advanced technologies, I think I also mentioned last time that some people have less advanced technologies and some people have more advanced technologies. With the less advanced technologies, the more basic kinds of technologies, it's easier to block some of those. But with the more advanced technologies, there's nothing that can block them. and I have some of the most advanced technologies on me. I suspect that I was put into a special access program within the secret space programs, the SSPs. The secret space programs, especially the US Navy secret space programs, I think they have some of the most advanced technologies, as Dr. Richard Allen Miller has commented in previous interviews. So, I think I'm being targeted by some of the upper echelon government Illuminati type
Yeah.
of people, because they have some of the most advanced technologies.
And they're really doing this because they really can't get to you. Actually, they can try and break you, but they can't. They really shake you. It really seems like they're trying their best to absolutely shake you to the core. And all they're really doing is shaking you, but not breaking you. So that's probably why they would be going at you so vehemently, right? Would you agree with that?
They want me dead. This is
And they
like a
can't get
torture.
it right. Yeah,
I'm still here, of course. I'm
exactly.
I'm doing the best that I can to hang in there, but this is kind of a torture. I do know people who have been killed with these programs. We know a lot of people who are being killed. People are being tortured to death. And on that note, hi, Mornay.
Hi, Mariana. Sure. Hello. Jumped
Wow.
into a
Hi.
hard one. Hi.
Wow. 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 Well, since we're speaking about the military and stuff like that,
Yeah.
what we wanted to bring up today a lot was maybe, you know, you seem to know quite a bit about the veterans and that sort of thing. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and these programs, how they use it with these guys? I'd be very interested to hear all about that.
Yes. So what we know collectively as people who are being targeted with these weapons, because I attended a lot of the support calls, the conference calls, so I know what's out there. What we do know is that a lot of military people are being put into these targeting programs, military as well as veterans, the whole spectrum. So, and it could be because a lot of these programs are military programs. Some of them are private companies. I mean, everybody can get access to these weapons, but it seems to be a high percentage of people from the military that are being put into these programs. Just as far as the averages go and as far as percentages go. And also, the thing with these programs is that they like to try to get people to commit suicide. They like to try to get people to die and to kill themselves. And it's basically, if you don't kill yourself, we're going to kill you somehow. We'll give you cancer. We'll give you some kind of deadly disease and you'll die eventually. So it's kind of like that. If you don't die, we'll kill you. So I know that there's a huge proportion of veterans that are committing suicide. And I know that these technologies can be used to make people commit suicide. And also it's been done in groups, and also it's been done with individuals. And in the 1970s, for example, these technologies were used in a town called Medford, Oregon. It was found that Medford, Oregon became one of the suicide capitals of the United States. There were an unusually high amounts of suicides in Medford, Oregon. And people were wondering why, and they discovered that there were these frequencies that were put on this town. And they discovered that there was a non-consensual human experimentation going on at a local university. And it appears to have been funded by a local military base, even though they denied it. So it appears that they're able to force people to commit suicide with these kinds of frequencies. They were using ultra low frequencies and extremely low frequencies, ULF and ELFs. And they were actually beaming these frequencies at people's homes, and they were beaming the frequencies at people's television antennas. And it didn't matter if they had their television on or off, it had the same effect. So some people suspect that there was some kind of resonance effect within their whole house. But it was being beamed at the whole town. But it was like being aimed at their television antennas. And so people were committing suicide by the droves in this town. And so you see the veterans that are committing suicide by the droves as well. And we know within all of the people that are being targeted by these directed energy weapons, we know that there's a very high percentage of military personnel, military people, and veterans that are being put into these programs. So it's highly suspicious for the use of these directed energy weapons to make these veterans suicidal, and the statistics. Yes.
What would be your idea as to why specifically they are targeting these veterans? I mean, is there a reason? Is there something that they don't want them talking about when they come out of the military? Is there something, I mean, is there something that you think these guys have been subjected to while they're in there, that they are literally testing these technologies, if you will, on them? What do you think is the reason why they are specifically targeting these guys?
Well, I don't know, but historically, we know that military personnel have been used historically for all kinds of non-consensual human experimentation. I don't know why they like to target the military, but historically, we do know that the military has been heavily targeted. And, we know that the veterans are not treated right anyways. They're not given the medical care that they need and the access to medical care that they need as well. So, I don't know if it's an easy access kind of a thing or non-consensual human experimentation kind of a thing, but we just know that they're heavily targeted.
And you reckon they are doing it, I mean, to get these guys to commit suicide? Is it I mean, we were speaking last week about, this voices in the head kind of thing. Right. That made a lot of sense to me about when we look at these kids that are often shooting up schools, that we've, like, for me, that would make a lot of sense, that they would be targeting, and that kind of technology would often be used on children. And, especially when they're already in a state of imbalance, put it that way.
Right.
So, and I think obviously there's so many horror stories one hears about these guys going into the military, and often they are MK Ultra. Do you know anything about that? Possibly these guys being MK Ultra'd in the military, and then they're coming out having memories again, or trying to block off memories, or trying to divert them in any way? I mean,
I don't know personally or experientially, but I do know from hearing from other people that definitely exists. The MK Ultra thing with military folks, I do think it's quite in existence. I've just heard about it, but I can't tell you anything from personal experience or from having talked to people who have experienced it. But actually, there is a large group of people that are military folks, and they're being targeted with directed energy weapons, and they're experiencing MK Ultra. I just know that exists out there, but I don't have any other details about that.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, that's, to me, I'm if I appear wordless, I really feel it right now, because all I'm thinking is about how vast and how deep does this net actually go? I mean, at what point do these guys actually stop? And I would really like to know, what is their intention with this? Why are they trying to get people to commit suicide? Why are they targeting certain individuals? And I mean, you might not have the answers, and maybe you have some which you can share with us. But for me, it's just like the mind boggles. Why would they want to get someone to commit suicide? Is it to see if their technology works? Is it more coming from a sadistic point of view, where it's like, hey, we can get you to do it? What is the intention behind all of this?
I think it's multifactorial, and some of it is that everything you said, I think, does apply in some cases. But since it's a lot of people doing the targeting, I think last time I went over some of the reasons why people are targeted. Some of it is non-consensual human experimentation. Some of it is sadistic entertainment. Nils Melzer from the United Nations actually acknowledges the use of voyeuristic weapons or like a like through the wall technology that can see through the wall, surveillance technology that can video record, and they sell torture, murder, and abuse through these technologies. So there's a variety of reasons why these things are happening. And I think some of it is also the depopulation agenda as well. It's part of the depopulation agenda. It's also part of control.
Yeah.
If you see you know, the Georgia Guidestones, they talk about depopulation, but they also talk about the age of reason. And the age of reason is technocracy. And you see the technocracy that is overtaking our societies. The age of science rules, and science knows best, basically. Like, there's no morality, there's no individuality. We have to submit to communitism. The community knows best. Everything is in the highest best for the community, and it's technocracy. So science rules the world, and technology rules the world. So
but what is science? What is science and technology without humanity? You may as well be having robots then. You know, that's the thing.
That is the thing, and that's the transhumanist agenda as well. And I know that Elon Musk is very much into this transhumanist agenda as well. So it's part of the transhumanist agenda. And this transhumanist agenda, of course, is part of spiritual warfare to connect us to robotics, to make us half robots, to make us part technology. Takes away from us. It does not enhance us. You know, I have a quote from Niels Meltzer that talks about human enhancement. But that's the way they're going to try to sell it to the society. You know, it's going to make you better. It's going to make you a human calculator. You'll have superpowers. But in reality, this is a detachment from our natural state of spiritual beings. This is actually a disconnect from our natural being. This is a disconnect from our spirituality and our natural God-given talents and gifts, spiritual gifts. So, so this technocracy and this, you know, technological advancements and the transhumanist agenda is really part of this spiritual warfare to disconnect people from who they really are, especially during an ascension process.
Exactly, because it really is, it makes sense, you know, with what you're saying there, because in this age that we're living in, where science has really ruled supreme, but you know, I mean, science is one thing, but when you're disconnecting science from the human spirit, the human emotions, the humanism of the human being, then you really do get a robot. So you may as well be killing off every human and creating these metal robots that we see sometimes in the movies, right? So,
that's right.
But I find that amazing that they would be doing this, but not so amazing because it makes sense, because that is really the agenda of the deep state, is
Control.
To completely gain control, and as they love to call it, thin the herds.
Yes.
Because we are useless feeders or something, I've heard them say, or whatever the case might be, you know. So now they would then use us as their cattle so that they can experiment and do and test and go ahead in exactly the same inhumane way that they are. Wow. It's insane. It makes a lot of sense. How much do you know about Elon? I mean, you mentioned Elon Musk, and I don't know. I mean, if you know, Elon Musk is actually South African, so you know.
Okay.
Yes. So we have a great interest in Elon, you know, and his little nefarious activities. Although I must say, there's been a lot of questions around him lately, because he seems to have flipped sides. He seems to be more connecting with the white hats nowadays, but hey, we're not sure about that. So I'd love to know, what is your take on him, on what he's creating, what your experience around that is? I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't trust him one bit with the white hats. See, it's all agenda, and he is pure hardcore not with the white hats. So so any such appearances, I think, are illusions. But Elon Musk recently came out with the little pig, and he I don't know if you watched it, but I actually watched a small part of it. And he came out with this little pig and this little pen, and he said that he put a microchip in the little pig's brain, and he showed how he could manipulate the brain waves of this little pig. And I was laughing out loud. I thought, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I thought, he's reinventing the wheel. This has been done before in the 1960s by Jose Delgado. Dr. Jose Delgado actually did the same thing in the 1960s. He put a microchip in a bull's brain. He used a bull, and it was much more dramatic because it was a bull. And he made the bull charge right at him. And then right when he was about to hit the guy, Dr. Jose Delgado, he used the remote control and stopped him right in his tracks. So,
Wow.
so he demonstrated that he could control what everybody would perceive to be an uncontrollable animal that is, extremely strong. So he stopped him right in his tracks. So when I saw Elon Musk's little pig, I thought, this is a joke. This is hilarious. This has been done before by Dr. Jose Delgado in the 1960s. Okay, so
Wow.
so they had these technologies and more advanced, way more advanced. And on top of that, Dr. Jose Delgado even said, you can do this without a microchip. Even back then in the 1960s, it was Dr. Jose Delgado himself who said, you can do this without a microchip. And there's some patents from Germany, 2002 patents, that say you can project thoughts into people's heads and you don't need a receiver. You don't need a microchip or anything. So these things have been done before. The technology exists. The technology is way more advanced than anybody really can fathom.
I
Yeah.
believe that.
Wow.
And I'm thinking definitely, when we're looking at the vaccines that they're pumping so much, along with the 5G technology, I mean, because I don't know if you would have any knowledge on that topic, but what makes sense to me is like, also in the beginning, everyone was 5G, 5G. I'm like, what are you talking about, this 5G story, And then the more I've been researching and the more people I'm actually speaking to, really what I'm being told is that whatever they're putting into the vaccines, other than aborted fetuses and I don't know what other amounts of disgusting things, are actually, and with the 5G technology, that actually works together. So when you have the vaccine and whatever they're doing there, it's actually somehow manipulating and controlling the energies that enable them to control us lowly cattle.
Yeah,
Right?
you're onto something there. And actually, I recommend the videos by Dr. Madej, Madej. Dr. Madej. I think her first name is Carrie Madej. I'm not certain, but her last name is Madej, Dr. Madej. She's a doctor that's exposing the vaccines and the things that they're doing with the vaccines.
Yes.
And
Is
she
she the
talks.
blonde lady? Is she the blonde
Yes.
lady?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
yes,
yes, yes.
yes,
She's
yes.
fantastic. And she talks about the hydrosol that they're putting in the vaccines that can be a carrier for nanotechnology. And yes, they can turn
Exactly.
the nanotechnology on with frequencies as well. And yes, the 5G is horrific for people's health in particular, but the 5G frequencies, they're up in the military frequencies. All of the really, really, really high frequencies, those are more military frequencies. So it'll just make this whole targeting thing even easier to control the population. They're able to do this in many different ways, including cell towers and drones and scalar technologies and microwave weapons on satellites, which is what I believe I'm being targeted in that way, through satellite weapons. But the 5G is just going to make it even easier. And those are military technologies that can be used for this, and most likely will be, because these technologies are in the wrong hands and they're being used to control and manipulate the population. But Dr. Madej also talks about here in the United States, there was a Supreme Court ruling that says that if your genetic code is part synthetic, that can be owned and patented. So so the vaccines that they're coming out now for the coronavirus are actually RNA vaccines, and those are GMOs. Those are genetically modified organisms. Those are genetically modified vaccines, which are meant to genetically modify humans. And this genetic modification, that's part synthetic, which means that technically that can be patented and owned.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's
Wow.
exactly it. That's exactly why, along with that, and the 5G technology, that's why they're so pushing that. And I mean, yeah, in South Africa, I'm not sure what it was like in the States. And I know that when they put in these 5G towers, there can't be kids around. So they use the lockup, or the lockup in my case, our case, the way I see it. Um, when just after they locked up and the kids were not going to school anymore, that's when they started putting up these 5G towers in South Africa. And obviously that was when, and of course our delightful President Cyril and his brother-in-law, Patrice Motsepe, who's one of the richest men in the world right now, is the one that was putting up these 5G towers. So firstly, there's nepotism of the first degree, typical. I mean, I can't say it's just African style, because it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be all over the world. But yeah, these guys, and clearly Cyril Ramaphosa is a Bill Gates puppet. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times, where him and Bill are shaking hands. And just before the COVID lockdown, how interesting is this? They had here in South Africa, do you know who he is? The tennis player.
Okay.
He is he's the Wimbledon tennis playing champion for many, many, many years, of Roger Federer, and he's half Swiss, half South African, and his opponent, Rafael Nadal. I mean, these two have been playing against each other for probably about a decade now, and the one is always beating the other. Now, I've been a great Roger Federer fan, okay, and they were doing, just before, in February, in fact, they were in South Africa doing these friendly, I don't even know what you call them, these tournaments, these basically to support Roger Federer's fund, who's now, and he has got all these education programs in South Africa and Africa, all over Africa, Malawi, Zambia, Kenya, I think there's 6 or 7, Namibia, programs for preschools. And guess who's one of his partners is the Bill and the Melinda Gates Foundation.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so they are vaccinating our kids, and a lot more nefarious things, I have no doubt, because this is how the child trafficking happens as well. I have no doubt about it. They have all these supposed people looking out for our kids, and all these systems in place. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this is what they're doing. So, and there you have Cyril Ramaphosa shaking hands with Bill, and what's the other, the hideous one? I'm sorry. That really unattractive old one. I think he might be dead. He's got a few clones running around. Soros.
I was just thinking that it's got to be Soros.
I think this is about his 10th clone he's on right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I could probably get myself Ivan Cappy for this. But you know what this does say? We're speaking the truth here, right?
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. And then of course this whole COVID thing happens. And then of course they're putting 5G towers up, locking our kids up, making us mask up and muzzle up, and now pushing the vaccine. And now Johnson & Johnson and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have teamed up to now create the vaccine in South Africa. And I'm hearing from June next year, which is a few months away, they're going to be starting to vaccinate people. Wow. I hope to God that that this whole takedown happens before that happens, because this is, and I mean, and it's exactly what you're saying. I know it's true. I could never understand what everyone is on about the 5G. And the more we're understanding about the vaccines, and now it works with the 5G. And especially when you're seeing how these nefarious ones are targeting our kids, our vulnerable population, that sort of thing, then you can understand what they're actually doing, what their agenda is really just to turn more people into herds. Wow.
Yes. I wanted to add something about Bill Gates. In 2014, Bill Gates actually funded remote control birth control. And I think now they're starting to implement that more, or like go further in the developments of that technology.
Sorry, remote control birth control.
Yes, remote control.
Hell is that? I've never heard of that.
the woman would be implanted with some kind of a microchip that would create birth control, and then you remote control it whenever you want it on and off or whatever that is. So
No way.
yeah, in 2014, Bill Gates actually funded that. And I can tell you, you know, it has the flavor of MK Ultra, because I do have some quotes from MK Ultra. They were involved in microchipping and remote control. Dr. Nick Begich's book, he's a scientist. He's a brilliant scientist. Dr. Nick Begich, he wrote the book Controlling the Human Mind, and he wrote about MK Ultra. Sub-Project 94 included remote control of people. MK Ultra Sub-Project 119 included techniques for activation of the human organism by remote electronic means. And recently, the CIA declassified a document that said that during MK Ultra, they were using dogs and they were microchipping dogs and remote controlling the dogs. So this remote control, and basically, you know, MK Ultra was about control, mind control, and all of that stuff. So they really, really, really want to control things and want to control people. And microchipping people seems to be a thing too. So, so this has the flavor of MK Ultra, you know, and Bill Gates funded it, and you know, it essentially microchipping the woman to do birth control. And of course, the article I read said, well, who's going to really be in control of that remote control? Who's going to really have ultimate control? I know it is.
I mean, like, come on, this cannot be true. This could not be true. What are they talking about? Remote control, birth control. Who the hell do they think they are?
I know.
I want to share something. Since I met you, Mariana, and since we spoke the last time, one thing that came up clearly is our gift of free will. God's greatest gift for us is the gift of free will. And it's almost like they've always been trying to control us by manipulating our choices or showing us where to go and stuff like that. But like you, they didn't get it quite right, because your will was still intact and you didn't do that, kill somebody or something like that. So how do you get past that system? So now they're using nanotechnologies, because they already got like the media, big tech and everything. People are already spinning around their narrative of that. So now they're like trying to control the body, because the spirit is very much connected to the body. Okay, so you can already bypass the mind, and if you can do the body as well, maybe then the spirit can be, you know, suppressed. Right. Because if the body starts, when people get aches and pains and stuff like that, that's when they start becoming very weak. I mean, the mind can be very strong. The mind can, you can like think through stuff. Well, for me, but when the body starts falling into their, it's like then they can control the body, and then they control the spirit. Wow. It's like they want to take away our free will, our God-given right to choose, to vote. Like if you look at USA right now, the whole voting system that's being exposed, it's our right to choose, you know, and they want to take it away. They want to take, they want to like make us believe that we don't have will anymore.
It's all about control, isn't it? I mean, you know, that's them imposing their wish to control. And it's a few, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like they make up the 3% of the world, these nefarious elite ones. And it's, I mean, I've often heard people say they speak about themselves as the slave masters, and they must keep their slaves in line. And they speak about thinning the herds. You know, they speak to us as, you know, they refer to us as the herds. They really, literally do believe they are superior to us. Yes. And that's actually quite crazy, you know. Yes. And most of them all have royal bloodlines and all sorts of crazy bloodlines that they believe that they now have the audacity to actually control the rest of us. But they can only do it when we are asleep and when we are not awakened to this. Like we always talk about the blue pill and the red pill, you know. They can only do it when we are blue pilled. And if, you know, and more people are now becoming red pilled, which is amazing, because I think once people are awake and once people have seen what is going on, I mean, I can't imagine that someone can't see that Joe Biden is a pedophile.
I know.
Look at that
Yeah, it's
man.
like,
He is the creepiest creep ever. How
Yeah.
can you think he's okay? I mean, when he
Yeah.
stands there and does those ridiculous speeches, it's obvious there's something seriously wrong with him.
Right.
It's either his clone that's malfunctioning or he has dementia of the first degree.
Right.
And it's obvious to me that Kamala Harris, it's their agenda to get her in, and so that she can basically run. And then from what I've been told, get Hillary Clinton, probably one of her clones too, to come and run as her running partner, and then, or whatever you call it. And then the two of them pretty much manipulate and control the world. We've got two women in now. You know, these aren't women. I'm sorry. These are definitely, they are not women. I'm sorry, you know. So it's crazy, you know. And the more of us who wake up to this truth and to this reality, the easier it's going to be for all of us.
Yes.
To not have to go through this anymore.
That's right. And I just wanted to add to what Mornay was saying. I'm reading a book about the Tavistock Institute, and it actually says there that one of their main goals was the complete subjugation of a person's will. So they make that their goal, to go completely against a person's free will. And in my personal experience, I have seen this because they're able to manipulate my limbs. I have the will not to move this limb, but it moves against my will. And they do things to hurt me, like, for example, to touch the stove. Even though my will, my mind says not to do that, they're able to force me to touch a hot stove. So their goal is to do this human manipulation, behavior modification, and to completely subjugate a person's free will. And that's been one of the things that has propelled my spiritual development, because so many people associate their being with their mind. I am my mind. This is me. They look in the mirror and they say, this is me. But in my spiritual development, I've learned to not associate me with this body or with this mind. And a lot of people are so connected to their mind and they think they are their mind, but you are not your mind. You are not your body. Those things can be manipulated, and the true you cannot be manipulated. The true essence of you. I am consciousness. I am pure consciousness. I am not mind. I am not body. I am consciousness. And that's been the big focus, and that's kept my spirit strong, knowing that these things that can be manipulated, that is not me.
Yeah.
I like to use the word super consciousness.
Yes.
Super consciousness.
Super conscious. Yeah.
All the overcomers are super consciousness.
Yes.
Because you've like gone beyond consciousness, because consciousness can be in your body, it can be in your heart, it can be in your mind.
Right.
But that super consciousness, it's your soul essence, it's your heart's true love, like you have for your family. And so that super consciousness is your essence, it's your spirit, and that's one thing they want to take away, and they
or control succeed. At least they want to put it in a cage. They want it controlled in a cage. They don't want us knowing our
put it in a cage, and then we're all zombies, just following.
But that's pretty much what George Bush owned up to on his deathbed. We are aware George Bush Sr. was not dying of a heart attack. He was executed. And one of the things he apparently owned up to, and I've seen documentation on this that was sent, was that they do something called soul sculpting. And now I'm not too familiar exactly, but from what I remember and understanding, it's like where they literally separate the soul from the body, and they encage that soul, and then they have something else, some other demonic force or whatever working through that body. And I don't know. I mean, we were speaking about. I don't know if you saw one of the recent interviews with Jesse Zabota, and we spoke about this whole werewolf vampire energy. And for me,
I saw that. Yeah,
I was laughing because I mean, I had no idea these things existed. But he was known as Timber, which is obviously Timber, the Timber Wolf, and was carrying that werewolf energy. And it makes a lot of sense, because then you know, even in these situations where they have the power to literally take that person's soul and trap it and use that body for their own nefarious activities. And that, I would imagine, is when that demonic force would then have the power to work through that person's body. So you got the body, you got the mind, or you know, it looks like you, but it ain't you, you know. So they've certainly had the power to do these things. And I mean, this is part of what George Bush actually admitted to, you know, and that was part of his deathbed or his execution bed. Acknowledgements, I guess. What did he? Well, what do you call it? I mean, he acknowledged, he admitted, he, you know, he pretty much came up with his truths. And I think that was maybe what we even said on the show with Jesse, is that that was him kind of finding some form of redemption. And you know, we always say, you know, everyone has the opportunity to redeem themselves, no matter how bad, no matter what you've done. There is that opportunity, and God really does want all God's children back, you know, and every one of these is God's children. So I think the more of those kind of creatures, I mean, I hope to God that was the case with him, because he was one of the super dark ones, really, that was creating. I mean, he was, again, admitted to literally blowing up the Twin Towers. He admitted to blowing that up. So he's been involved in some very nasty things in his lives, and passed that on clearly, you know. So I have no doubt that they have the ability to do these things, where they have that power. But again, you know, once the individual human actually taps in and tunes into your source energy, your loosh, as we're calling it, your loosh, you know, and literally turns your loosh back into love and light and positivity, and tunes back into that. This stuff, you know, it's powerless against you. It like dissolves, you know, in the dark, really. So, wow. What I'd like to find out from you as well, I mean, we're talking about all of these things, and one of the big things that these guys are after is adrenochrome. And we understand that adrenochrome is really taken through, especially kids, torturing and creating so much fear in these poor little things. And then that's how they harvest it. Do you think that this could be, these techniques that they're using could be remotely harvesting adrenochrome? I don't know. Is that even possible?
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I was actually thinking the same thing. The torture in my case looks like satanic ritual abuse. It looks really barbaric, and it's so extreme in my case that you'd really have to wonder. And they're able to do so much with these technologies. And there's always, you know, like homeopathy, there's like an energy imprint, and so there's things that you can do, you can extract. And I've actually personally witnessed some really extremely advanced things with these weapons, like materialization. They have done materialization. They have materialized things right in front of me. They have moved objects. They have done so many things. I actually have a list of all kinds of things that they're able to do. It's just unbelievable. I was riding my bike one day and I got a flat tire, and they actually reinflated it for me while I was still riding the bike. Okay. So these technologies are extremely advanced. People just don't know. And I have a long list of things that are similar to that. And I have actual evidence of them moving objects, like literally moving objects, and I have it on videotape. So I have evidence of it. These technologies are so advanced that it makes me wonder, and in my opinion, I believe that it probably is possible because of all that I've seen and witnessed and experienced. I believe that it is possible, but I cannot confirm it. I don't know, I wouldn't know. You would have to get a whistleblower for that to come out and actually talk about that. But in my opinion, I believe that it probably is possible.
Wow, that is quite something, isn't it? Because because I can imagine someone like yourself going through these things, and it's painful and fearful, You know, you don't know where they're going to stop. How long is this going to carry on for? What are they going to do? At what point? What is my breaking point? So I can imagine there must be a lot of adrenaline pumping through your system.
Yes, that's right. And I also want to mention that the people who are doing this, to me, I believe, also have access to Project Looking Glass. And I know Jesse talked about Project Looking Glass, and that's where they get to see into the future. When I was in my 20s, when I was in my late 20s, I was walking to the bus stop, and there was a strong thought projected into my head that told me that when I turned 33 years old, that somebody I love or myself would die at the age of 30 when I was 33 years old. So what happened was I turned 33 years old and my sister died. So yeah. So I believe that the people who are doing this to me have access to Project Looking Glass, and they were able to see that into the future and put that thought when I was in my 20s that somebody I love would die when I was 33. And that really came to pass. That happened. So the technologies are just extremely advanced. And the people who are targeting me, I think, are at the upper echelons of the Illuminati. This is not a typical experience for people who are targeted with directed energy weapons. Most people are mild to moderate. Most people have the more basic technologies that are being directed at them. So my experience is extraordinary. It's obvious that the technologies are extremely advanced, and some of the most advanced, higher, upper level people are doing this to me.
Wow. Wow. I think, you know, and it all, there's just so much stuff that just starts slotting into place, you know, when one starts thinking about these things and starts actually investigating these kind of, I mean, it's not even paranormal activities, is it? I mean, what do you call it? I mean, I guess it could be paranormal on some bizarre level.
Futuronic. It's like, yeah.
I also wanted to add that I don't know if you're familiar with Project Bluebeam.
No, I'm not heard. What, Project Bluebeam?
Yes, Project Bluebeam.
What is that? No, not heard of that before.
There are some people who are familiar with the secret space programs that are talking about Project Bluebeam, particularly Dr. Stephen Greer. Dr. Stephen Greer talks about these technologies. He's aware of these technologies and how advanced they really are. And he talks about Project Bluebeam, saying that one of the agendas of the Illuminati is to project holograms into space and to fake an alien invasion. They want to fake an alien invasion. So us against them, an enemy, a projected enemy. And they also want to fake the second coming of Jesus. They want to do holograms in the sky and make it appear as though Jesus is coming back, and they're going to project voices into everybody's heads because they're able to do this on a global scale. They're able to do this with individuals and with large groups of people. But so they would project holograms into the sky, and they would put voices into people's heads of Jesus's voice and the voice of God, literally. And so that seems to be on the table as far as one of the Illuminati agendas, and it's called Project Bluebeam. And it's using these technologies to project holographic images that look lifelike and totally real.
So that would maybe be what they're talking about, the coming of the Christ, but it really would be the Antichrist, I would imagine. Would that be the holograms that they're actually projecting? Because if they're talking about the return of Jesus, and that would not be the proper one, and they would then obviously be projecting all of that stuff and creating all of that, and it's one big fat deception and one big fat lie.
Yeah. I don't know any more details other than that, but that seems to be the agenda. And as far as what they do with that, I don't know what the detail, or even if it's still on the table as an agenda. But that's one of the things that is being talked about with the people who know, excuse me, the people who know how advanced these technologies are and what they're capable of. That's what they're saying.
Isn't it interesting how they take everything, and you know, this is what we've mentioned quite a few times, and how they take everything that is beautiful and sacred.
Yes.
And not just with Christianity, you know, they've really, I mean, Christianity has been one of the religions that the Satanism or Luciferianism, whatever, has really taken, and they've inverted everything beautiful and made it into something so ugly. And it's not just with that, it's with so many other beautiful things too. I mean, if you look at the whole hand symbols and stuff, which are the mudras, you know, if you look at the Eastern mudras, you know, there's something so sacred and beautiful about using hands in a certain way. But of course, they would take those energies and invert it. And make it something that it really is not. But there again, you know, we live in a world of polarization. Everything on earth is the polar opposites. So everything has the ability to go either way. And it's up to us as individuals to understand what it is, because ultimately what the Luciferians want is destruction of life. Everything, and that's why they want the tunnels and these underground cities, and they have their fake suns, and they have their sex slaves, and God knows what all else under there. I mean, their adrenochrome harvesting. Everything happens underground in these tunnels. You know, us, for example, we love nature, we love sunlight. You know, we complete givers of life. You know, for me, I don't even kill ants. Okay, I can't kill an ant.
I know,
I get it gets swept up and then thrown outside. You know, my cats come in with a mouse and they get scolded. I will run after them, chasing them until they let that mouse go. You know, and then I'll rescue the
flies too. Yeah,
exactly. Flies are irritating. They don't get killed. Okay, mosquitoes get killed. If a mosquito sits on me. Mosquitoes. No, sorry. If you're gonna suck my blood, you got no place on my body. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, so you know, it's really about the intention. You know, so we understand the intention. Everything that is good and pure wants to give life. It is life-giving. Everything that is not pure and good takes a life. You know, it siphons, it sucks the blood, it wants something, it wants, you know, so I think we really just have to discern within ourselves where we as individuals are at within that scale.
Absolutely.
So when we choose to be the givers of life and the givers of light as well, you know, then that's what's we're gonna align ourselves with that, and we're gonna be able to give that back. And that's really what it is, because these guys have taken everything beautiful and turned it into something so ugly, really so ugly. And when we learn that as well, and I want to just use this opportunity, and I know this often does not make me popular, and I don't really care. I promise I don't. I'm not here to win popularity stakes. I'm here to be a sharer of truth. So when we look, for example, at how we treat our animals on this planet, and I'm talking about our pigs, our cattle, our sheep, everything, okay? We do not give a second thought to the way our animals are slaughtered and murdered and killed, how we take their babies away from them, how we just... And as long as we are doing that to other sentient beings, we are going to have that mirror effect occurring with us. They are going to be doing that. They are going to be doing that to our babies. So we have to understand that we are a mirror in this universe. We cannot be doing the things we do to other sentient beings and ignore what is happening. You know, when we see these trucks going to the slaughterhouses nicely behind a hill and far away from human ears, so that we are not offended by the screaming and the writhing. And I have researched that a lot over the years. I'm an animal whisperer. And so is Mornay. You know, we work a lot with animals. So I know, and I've made it my business to find out about these things. And it is very, 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 very ugly. So as long as we are doing that and are ignorant, and as long as we think we can just take a gun and go and shoot something because it's our human right to do it, we have to think again. We can't think that that doesn't matter in this universe. We have to be accountable for our actions. when we are treating other sentient beings. I mean, how do pigs get treated? You know, when we understand pigs have got the intelligence of a 7-year-old child without a voice. Wow. And how do they get treated? And they just get seen as bacon. My goodness. We have to reconsider our actions as humans to other sentient beings as well. Just my 10 cents worth. And I know these topics don't usually make me very popular.
There's this famous quote, I'm not sure who said it. It was like, until we have mass slaughtering houses on this earth, war will always exist. It's like,
until we no longer have them, you mean?
Yeah. So the mass slaughtering houses and wars on the earth, he said basically they're connected. It's like the war on animals and the war on people. And even taking it a little bit further, if you think about the children in the tunnels, how many of us shove our inner child down, our creativity, our feelings? We shove all those things down, keep them in the dark all our lives, and sacrifice our dreams and hopes and loves. And now we think, why is this happening to our children? You know, it's like you said, this, I could definitely see that mirror. Like, it's not just the devil's fault. We created this. We co-created it. Our ignorance is so much to blame for this, just as much as the pedophile or Satanist over there. We've given into this by applying, signing contracts, you know, whatever, voted to somebody, decided to eat that McDonald's burger with the child sacrificing stuff in because we don't think about where our food is coming from. So definitely it's a mirror completely. I can see that completely. And it's actually awesome because it gives, for me, it gives us me a sense of, okay, we have a power in this. We have a will in this, and we can actually change our decisions right now.
Waking up, by waking up and becoming aware of everything. Everything is sentient. We've been destroying our planet for so long. We've been destroying our animals. We've been destroying our wildlife. We've been destroying ourselves, our own health and well-being, you know. And as long as we're doing it like that, there's always a price to pay. And I no longer choose to pay. I now choose to give back, you know. Giving and receiving is one and ultimately it's one and the same thing, isn't it? You can't give without receiving. You can't receive without giving. It's all about balance. Wow. Mariana, I think your time is probably, I know you've given us an hour of your time again today. So I say thank you so much. And we'd actually love to have you on for yet another third connection, because I think we still have some stuff to talk about. There's a lot. This topic has so much, has so much that we can go into. So if you're cool with it, we would love to have you back with us again, and we'll talk off there as to when that would be. But thank you so much.
That sounds good, Chantal. Thank you, both of you. Thank you for this time, for this opportunity. These crimes need to be exposed.
Absolutely. It's just about being aware and becoming conscious and you know, deciding to stand in the light. And the more of us that know about these things, the less it's going to happen. Definitely. Absolutely. So guys and girls, thank you so much again for watching another one of our amazing overcomers in our Overcomer series. Mariana, very, very brave, amazing, beautiful young woman who's, wow, still going through so much in your life. And really, all I hope for is that if our talks on this channel, and I know you also speaking on other channels as well, just changes that by a centimeter, that would be such a blessing for us, just for you to transcend some of what you're going through just by exposing and expressing and stepping up and stepping out. So thank you so much for being part of our journey as well. We love doing what we're doing, and it's just such a blessing to have people like you on our show.
Absolutely.
So
thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, guys and gals, wherever you are in the world, have a beautiful evening, a beautiful morning, a beautiful day, a beautiful everything. And if you haven't given us a like and a subscribe and a share yet, please do so. And share, share, share. This is so important that so many people get to hear about what's going on. I know it sounds crazy for most people to even think that stuff like this exists, but here we have living proof that it exists, and not just with Mariana, but so many other people, that this stuff has been going on. And, you know, while the world has been turning a blind eye, including ourselves. So just share and let's create awareness, be part of the wave of change. And then that is really what this is about for us. So wonderful. Give us a like, a subscribe, and a share. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. Just follow. God bless you all. Take good care. Until the next time, we shall see you then. Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back and happy Sunday, because it's the amazing Cathy O'Brien again with me today. After our wonderful show yesterday, couldn't think of a better person to have on Solutions with Shanti and Cathy O'Brien. And today we're going to be talking just about healing animals, the healing power, and really where we are focusing nowadays is on the healing. And I think Cathy is just such a beautiful example of that. So I'm not even going to do any announcements today. I'm definitely just going to bring on the lady. How are you, beautiful Cathy? So good to see you again.
You too. I've looked forward to this. Of course, solutions is my focus, because so many people need healing these days. Just so many levels of healing are needed, and it's within us all to heal. So yeah, it's a great time to have voice, and it's a great time to share this time with you.
Likewise, and just welcome to everybody who's joining us on this beautiful Sunday as well. It really is wonderful. And you know, I think it's what I was saying to you on our chat yesterday. I think love is the most powerful healer of everything. When you come from that place of love, it's really what heals. And this is why I love your story so much as well. As you all know, I'm the eternal romantic. So your beautiful story with Mark is such a powerful testimony to how love heals. And I know you also said prior to that in one of our previous interviews, Mark would not get into a relationship with you until you had healed yourself, right? Talk to us about the importance of that, and especially for MK Ultra victims, survivors, overcomers, thrivers, right? In relationship with others, not necessarily only romantic, because there's so many levels of pain inflicted on survivors like yourself. And I think it must be such a trauma just to even think about going to face that memory. I mean, I think that must be horrific for a lot of people. But it's such an important part to play. And I think what Mark understood was that you cannot love him fully unless you've loved yourself fully. And it has to be that relationship of two healed beings that can now communicate from an absolute place of love and respect, not codependency and wounded wounds that are open and gaping and trying to save each other. So what is your, what would you say to that? How could you speak to us on that?
Oh, it's so important that survivors heal fully before getting in a relationship, before trying to help other survivors, before they expect anything from anyone. They need to be able to go within, align with the divine within, be fully healed in order to have the strength to not trigger, to be able to live their life's purpose, to live the love they are fully, and not be dependent on someone else to tell them how to do it. Some people, some survivors go to churches before they've aligned with the divine within, and then they get triggered, especially if they're ritually abused, because ritual abuse, satanic ritual abuse, uses a lot of religious terms. They even quote the Bible and twist the words to fit their agenda, and they set triggers in because they know that the goodness of humanity, those who are in the churches, are the ones most likely to reach out to the ritually abused and help them. So they set landmines, and I spell that M-I-N-D-S, landmines, that will trigger and ultimately either send survivors back or cause them great distress and lack of healing, solidify their programming further rather than deprogram. And Mark had told me, he said, you got to deprogram the program first. See who is manipulating your mind for what purpose. And that helps to untangle those kind of triggers. He also told me I needed to heal, like you said, to have anything to give in a relationship. And ultimately, everybody, everywhere needs to do that in a relationship, because it's not about 50-50. Then you get into push-pull. It's about 100-100. We have to know who we are. We have to be solid in ourselves so that we're not triggered, so that we don't have crossovers where our past intrudes on our present and we take it out on the one that we're with, what happened to us in the past. We've got to keep all that out of the way. We got to keep the past from intruding on the present, whether we're going into helping other survivors or going into a relationship, going out in our community to make a positive difference, going out into the church. No matter what we choose to do, it's imperative that we're fully healed so that we no longer trigger. Because when we trigger, we aren't helping anybody, certainly not ourselves. And right now, the whole world needs healing. So it's up to us to go within, fully heal, gather that strength of the human spirit and that infinite power of love, shine that light bright, and be able to be an example of living life's purpose, be an example of living the love we are, be an example of what it is, the joy that it is to be fully healed. And that's another beautiful thing to carry into a relationship, is the joy of knowing that not only can we overcome our past, but that we can be stronger as a result of what we have been through, and that we can shine brighter because of what we know from within, how we even were able to survive the ordeal.
It's so important that, and I think part of your healing must have involved forgiveness for your abusers. And I think forgiveness is sometimes such a tricky word, right? Because I think for many people, it requires that they have to now be okay with any injustices or persecutions, whatever it was, that have been inflicted upon them. And that, I think, is for a lot of people very difficult. How would you say you personally got to that road? Because where you are now, you can see you've healed, and those traumas are not there anymore for you. The memory is there, the scar might be there, which is a beautiful thing, and it will always be there as a reminder of something, right? But how did you take yourself through the path of forgiving and understanding and transforming the pain from your abusers. Because again, they were those closest and nearest and dearest to you, right? Who inflicted the most horrific things upon you.
Yeah, that more of Mark's wisdom there. You know, everyone was telling me, you got to forgive your abusers. And to me, that was like, that would be condoning what they did. That's not a healthy thing. There must be a better way. So then I found that the most difficult thing all survivors experience is the ability to forgive themselves. So when I was in my healing process and remembered what I had been forced to do under mind control, that I hadn't been able to even protect my own daughter. I couldn't deal with it. I told Mark, I can't live with myself after what I've participated in. And he said, you are not responsible for what you were tortured to do under mind control. Your abusers are responsible for that. They need to be held accountable for their actions. He didn't tell me forgive them. He said they need to be held accountable for their actions. And it's important for you to know now that you are aware, that you are responsible for all your actions going forward. So that was like, whoa, it's like having a clean slate. Like I can be who I really am and not be tainted by what other people imposed on me. And I realized that what happens to us in life is not who we are. Who we are is within. I went deep within myself to find myself, to know who I am. And I found myself at the base core energy of my being. And that energy is love. And I'm not talking about emotional love. I'm talking about the energy, that power, that amazing resiliency, the energy of our spirit, the essence of our humanity. So I found myself on that level. I was like, oh, I don't have to love myself. I just need to live the love that I am. Semantically, that made all the difference in the world. And by living the love that I am, I found that vibration is exactly what my abusers feared. The power of love, the strength of the human spirit is their greatest fear. They feed off of low vibration, dark, negative energy force, and they want to use mind control and trauma to keep us in a fearful, low vibration mode. And that's what they feed off of. They can't touch the strength of the human spirit. As a matter of fact, my spirit was always in a safe, loving space. They never could reach it. And my spirit was always there. And no matter what my body went through, it was kept safe there. And it's such a beautiful knowing, a beautiful connection. It's such a beautiful alignment with the divine. It's just it's how I live every day now, because that became like a freeway for me. And it's like, wow, we pray, we meditate, we do all this to align with it. Well, I've got such a freeway too, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it open all the time. And I realized that because of that, not only was I not triggerable, and I was strong, and I had that higher vibration, they couldn't touch me. My abusers couldn't reach me anymore. And it was like, whoa, not only do I not need to forgive them per se, but I understand that they haven't overcome their own issues. My father had been sexually and ritually abused. My mother was sexually abused and trafficked. They never had the luxury and latitude of healing from that. So it was up to me to break that genetic chain. It was up to me to do that for them, for all the children coming forward. It was a completely different level of understanding than forgiving them, because I didn't condone the abuse. I didn't condone the abuse that they went through. And I was certainly not going to live in any fear or hatred or bitterness, because that's the low vibration that these abusers feed off. They're not going to get any more of that from me. They got that the first 30 years of my life. They're not going to get any more. I'm going to live the love I am, shine that light bright, and stay above them. So for me, forgiveness of all and is really an understanding, and it began with forgiveness of myself by understanding what had happened.
That is so powerful, because that's exactly what I was saying. It's like people get so, and I think that's part of the religious programming, is that you have to forgive your abuser in order to reach the gates of heaven. You can't go in with a heavy heart type thing, right? So I think that is taken so literally in so many indoctrinations. And it's exactly that. Once you've understood, and it does start with loving yourself, living the love that I am. I love that, because once you live the love that you are, and you start expressing that more and more, it's like it doesn't stop. It's like the momentum gathers, and you can't be anything else but that unless you choose to stop yourself. And it's very easy to do that with hateful thoughts, anger, etc. So it's exactly, I think, and I so agree with what you're saying. It's the understanding that your father knew no different. Did it mean it's right or okay? No, but he's got to face his maker and himself. Really, at the end of the day, we are our toughest judges, right, Cathy? What do you say to that? I'd actually like your opinion on that. My opinion is we judge ourselves harsher than any God ever could or would.
Oh, yeah. Definitely that, because we're judging ourselves by what happens to us in life rather than who we are, so that takes healing. And in that regard, it's like that everyone everywhere needs healing. We've been conditioned for generations to look outside ourselves, to big government, big pharma, big tech, big cult religion, these self-appointed, self-anointed puppet masters that have been manipulating our perceptions and our information for so long that we forgot to go within. We forgot that we're already aligned with the divine. We already have that absolute connection, the infinite power of love, that we are a part of that. We are that energy. We are that. And we're here to make a positive difference. It's such an important part of life, and it's so important that we maintain a discernment and keep the gifts that we gained from not having free thought, free will. We get the blasted into the primitive parts of the brain where we have extra survival mechanisms of heightened intuition, telepathy, and vibrational senses, intuitive knowing, an ability to know who's good and who's bad. It gives us more of a divine protection. And in all this capability that we have, we don't have to be judging others, because everybody is on their own learning path. Everybody's on their own healing path. And just because we have this answer doesn't mean they do. They need to make their journey too. We can't wake up for other people. We can't heal for other people. We can't align with the divine for other people. All we can do is live the love that we are and shine that light so others find their path too. In that process, there's no point in judging them harshly. They're making their way through it. And there's certainly no reason to be judging ourselves harshly anymore, because when we're free of the past, we realize the truth and the reality, and we get to live life freely the way that it was intended to be lived. And that is one that is free of these kind of judgments that people have been conditioned to these days. They snap judge everyone outside themselves so fast, especially with the social media and everything else, snap judge, like, no, we don't need to do that. We need to understand what everybody's going through and understand who we are and what we can do to make a difference just simply by shining our light.
That's so true. It really is. And it really is love in action. And talking about love in action, one thing you also said yesterday, when you knew you could start trusting Mark, that he was obviously one of the good guys, or the only good guy you'd pretty much come across. And one of the first things that you said was how he treated the animals that you guys had grown to love and rear, and knowing full well, had he left them there, the fate of those animals would have been disastrous, right?
Yes.
So that was the first action of love in action you saw, was that rather than hurt an animal, he was saving them. I think that must be such a significant breakthrough in a mind like yours that has been so traumatized, right? Because all you've ever seen is hurting and harming and destroying. So now here this man comes and says, well, we're going to take them all and we're going to put them in places that are safe, and you can keep this one, whatever, you know. But wow, speak to us on how that affected you. That to me seems like it was one of the earliest doorways that opened for love in action for you.
Yes, it was. Animals are so pure. And Mark knew what I knew, that people who abuse children abuse animals and vice versa. And I think it's because, you know, we look at animals, and they are so attuned with their nature. They are so pure. They're so absolute. So are the children. When they're born, they have all their birth knowledge yet. You know, they're so divinely precious. They're so intuitive, and you can just beam thoughts at them and watch them respond. You know, I mean, they're just, it's amazing. Animals, same way. You know, and even though my daughter and I couldn't protect the animals any more than we could protect ourselves from our handler, who is horribly abusive to the animals to traumatize us further, we certainly could connect with them. And they were so relieved to be out of that abusive situation. And Mark's pets were so loving to him. So having those heightened senses like an animal has, we were able to learn to trust through that. And so often animals can teach us how to trust again, how to trust ourselves again, how to tune with those vibrations, the unconditional love of a dog. Oh my gosh, unconditional love of a cat. It's just all so amazing where the connection that we can have with them. So it has a profound effect, and it has a very profound healing effect on survivors to be able to connect with animals. And I always encourage that. That's in the healing methods that Mark taught me in PTSD Time to Heal. The importance of being able to connect with animals helps us to reconnect with the beauty of who we are and the beauty of life itself. And it's very important part of the healing process.
Absolutely. It's incredible. It's exactly what you say. You know, animals are our teachers on so many levels. I've worked with people in the past, especially recovering from drug addiction, getting a dog, for example, especially a dog. I mean, cats can be real asses sometimes, okay? I'm a cat person and I adore my cats, but they are such asses. Joanne, thank you so much again, honey. I'm about to actually talk about you and the Joeys. This is Joanne from Australia. And it's amazing because once they've got a dog to come home to feed, to nurture, to take care of, and that dog gives them unconditional love, for example, that is one of the first steps to healing, for sure, when someone is in recovery. And I know with a lot of survivors as well, they most definitely have their emotional support animals, most definitely. And I know I was going to talk about Joanne as well, who's also a survivor from Australia of horrific things. I mean, she was a survivor from, for example, the child hunts. I mean, what can be more traumatic to a child than having to experience that? And she now has the home farm sanctuary in Australia, where part of her healing as well has been working with the joeys, rescuing the joeys, or joeys being the kangaroos, and unbelievable healing from them. So there's just another example of how survivors, and she's not just working, I mean, not just for herself, but she now also works with, for example, kids that are given opportunities in court. I'm not sure, like the naughty kids that have to go to court, those ones, right? And then they'll come there and they get healing from the joeys. So that sort of stuff. So she works with the courts and things in Australia as well now, with the joeys. So I really think it's such an important thing to see the trend moving towards animals helping us heal. I mean, I'm an animal communicator. I've been hearing the voices of animals since I was a child. It's such a joy to me that there's an animal communication is something quite common now. Okay, not in every circle, but it's not something that people go, what, to anymore, right? It's something that we understand exists and is possible. And also, like I was saying with the joeys, the horses as well, right? And we're seeing dogs and cats going into hospitals with old people and hanging out with them. Yeah, I mean, what is your take on the future of healing really having a strong involvement of animals?
I think it's the future healing of humanity. Our humanity has been under attack for generations, and we all need to reclaim it, everyone, everywhere. And the animals can help show us the way, because they haven't lost their communication and their ability. The horses are a very common therapeutic aspect of healing from any trauma that is in place in so many of the different safe houses and everything that I work with, the different ranches and all. Even the piece of heaven that I was a part of this past weekend, to open this giant safe house for the children. One of the very first things they're going to do is get the equine, the horse therapy in place, because it's so important. And not only does it give them the ability to connect with the animals like that, but to understand that the heightened senses they have are natural, that the parts of their brain they've been blasted into that have that telepathic capability is natural. And when we realize again how natural that is, I feel like all these survivors are going to be like a giant quantum leap in human evolution, in the evolution of our humanity and the evolution of spirit, because we're going to remember again to have that connection with each other. Because when we have that ability to have that kind of connection with each other, the compassion, the understanding, the connection that we have again is just, it's such a beautiful part of life, the way that it was intended to be lived. Because when we align with the divine within, when we have the strength of the human spirit, the infinite power of love, we naturally connect. That's where humanity connects. That's where our global connection actually is. That's where world peace is. You know, it all is right here. And when we reaccess that, we will bring it into being. And in that process, we realize that these primitive abilities that we have were another way of being able to express that love, to be able to make a connection with each other. So the animals will teach us the way. They are teaching us the way. They're teaching us the healing. They're teaching us the unconditional love, but they're going to teach us the path back to our own humanity.
I so agree with that. You know, animals are amazing. You know, the only thing they can't really do is speak like we do, but some of them can.
Yeah.
They learn from us, right? But it's so true. But you spoke about Piece of Heaven that you were involved in launching. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? That sounds super interesting.
Oh, it's just a huge conference in Yuba City, California, that was pulling a bunch of speakers who are involved in the child and exposing child sex trafficking and helping survivors and, you know, everything like that. We all converged for a fundraising to help to be able to open a facility. This is happening all across the U.S., I think all across the world, where the system is so corrupt, the established system, the child protective services that I told you yesterday, my daughter was thrust into, the criminal aspect of the structure of this system is going to take a long time to clean up, and the children cannot wait. The survivors cannot wait for the system to clean up. They need people helping people. So people everywhere are coming together to open safe houses, because the number one thing for healing is safety. Without safety, healing can't happen. Our brains know if we're safe or not, and they're going to keep that that protective mechanism in place unless we're safe. So we need safe houses, and in those safe houses, we need people with understanding. You know, so this was a huge group together to raise the funds so that the people could make the difference for the children. Not only were the funds raised, they were surpassed. And instantly, the facility was not only purchased, but the renovations are in place. The trees are being planted. The equine center's being set up. And it just happened. And everybody was at the go, ready to do it, you know, but we needed the funds. Funds were raised, go. You know, so sometimes people just need to know what they can do, because people ask all the time, what can I do? Help those who are in positions of making that difference right now, the ones who know, the ones who are aware, the ones who are ready to make it happen. And
yes,
I'm so excited that this is happening. I've waited a lifetime for this, and here it is. It's finally happening. I've wanted the children to be safe, and now we've got that opportunity to do it, and we don't have to wait on government. We don't have to wait on authorities outside. We can all just make the difference ourselves. Just like your friend who opened, just like your friend who is helping the Joeys and helping other people because of that. You know, we all find our space, find what we can do, and start making that difference. It comes with living the love we are.
Totally. That's just, again, love in action, right? Love in action. That's really, really, really amazing. So are these safe houses for children, and are they specifically for kids that have been rescued from trafficking, being trafficked? Is that what they are, or is there nothing specific? Is it really kids that are in trouble, any child that's in trouble? Or is it specifically for trafficked kids?
It's all love. So yeah, it's for everybody. But at this point, there are so many trafficked children who are being rescued. There are so many that need a safe place to be, that it has become a strong focus of the moment. But I'm also acutely aware of other places that have opened their arms, their hearts to be able to help any survivor on any level. And as they heal, they're not like turned out at age 18 or whatever, like they are with so-called protective services. They're given a safe place to be until they're ready, until they're healed, until they're capable of going. Well, we've got a ranch that we're working towards, a Sunrise Ranch in Sarasota, Florida, that is just massive, and it's for everybody. It's for families that need to be reunited. It's for helping people who want to take the children in. I don't even want to call it foster care, because here our foster care system is part of trafficking, but where they take the children in and nurture them. They need to know how to be able to keep them safe, how to be able to help them heal without triggering them inadvertently, you know, to be able to effectively give them a good, safe place to be. So there's many levels to all this that's going on, and it's all happening at once the way that it needs to. And I'm so excited to be part of it on any level where people give me voice, because having been healed now for so long, and my testimony being consistent for over 35 years, because I can't be triggered and manipulated, and, you know, truth is absolute. So, and healing, you know, is a process. It's not an event, and it's not like it can happen overnight, but there is the point of not being triggered and being in self-control that gives us the ability to help others reach that same point. And I'm finding so many survivors just need one more piece of their puzzle, one little bit of encouragement, one word of understanding. It might even be something as simple as not having to forgive their abusers, but to forgive themselves, you know, what we talked about, that it could be something as simple as that. And all of a sudden they've got it. They're okay. I'm just thrilled to be a part of that. And I feel like this long wait for people to wake up and reach this point is just more than worth it now, because we're at the turning point. We're at this evolutionary point, and I'm so happy to get to be part of it.
Oh, how could you not? I think you are probably the one who's spearheaded this, knowingly or unknowingly. There've been a lot of questions over the past couple of years as well about the kids that are being rescued from these, whether it's the tunnels, the dams, whether it's from trafficking rings, stuff like this. And I'm well aware that obviously it's going to take a while to clean out these covert operations. From where you're sitting, are you aware that there've been large numbers of children, or any numbers of children really, that have actually been put into care after being rescued in maybe a safe house or something? And then my next question to that would be, obviously these children would need so much healing. So, and as we've said before, I definitely do not think the traditional healing that is being offered to the average person out there is ideal at all. So how would you say these children coming out of these trafficking rings or whatever it is where they've been, what would be the way that we could walk them back to, I don't know, the smallest sense of normality?
Yeah, well, I definitely carry forward Mark with me in spirit and in love, and continue our shared life's purpose, because Mark is the one who found our birthright information on healing buried under national security. It was buried under national security since the 1947 National Security Act was put in place in the wake of Project Paperclip, that brought in the information on MK Ultra mind control, how sexualizing children is the most horrific trauma on the human mind that renders children compliant and easily led. It was the basis of what we have, the point that we're at today. And it was all kept secret under national security, along with the healing information, because knowledge is our defense against mind control. Knowledge is our defense against the manipulation that has allowed us to be complacent and not see what was being done to the children until it reached this point where they're the most trafficking, the the children is the most lucrative business in the world. That is because we've all been manipulated, because our birthright information, our defense against it, was buried under national security for generations. It had been found in Himmler research that any abuse base, knowledge base, or belief system becomes autogenic in the brain after 3 generations. Equally, our even birthright information becomes forgotten after 3 generations of suppression. But it's still there, so we just need the reminder that it's within us. When Mark lifted my daughter and me out of the Washington, D.C. human trafficking swamp, he handed me those keys to my own mind that are buried under national security. That information was something he couldn't release because he was bound by laws of sedition, being an intelligence. But he could remind me of that birthright information. Well, I'm not bound by laws of sedition, so I've released that information. And PTSD, Time to Heal. It's a small little workbook, and it's easy to self-apply because it's not about me. It's about us all. It's a reminder that we have the resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. We have the capacity within us to heal ourselves. And when we heal from within is when we have the ultimate absolute healing, psychiatrically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. And that all comes into being where we can align with the divine and evolve with this knowledge. And it's really a matter of remembering what we have been conditioned for so long to forget. So this information is available to everybody, and these children, that's all they need, is to be able to pick up a crayon, and if they can't pick up a pen and paper and write out the trauma, the very act of moving a pen activates the logic part of the brain. It opens up conscious awareness again, because then we see what's written on paper in front of us. So all this shutting down of neuron pathways has kept the children and kept all survivors highly suggestible. Opening the neuron pathways gives us our freedom back, our free thought, free will. And that's just a matter of moving a pen, shifting the emotionally incomprehensible trauma over to logic, consciously seen in front of us, or draw it out what happened. Then draw a happy picture, draw sunshine, draw a happy place, draw animals, draw safe. Yes, and it's the same thing with when we write out our fear, when we write out our trauma, and write out what's immobilizing us. If we add a solution, then we have to think of that, and it forces the brain to fire in new ways and open even more. So these are just, basic human tendencies and capabilities that we have forgotten for so long, that we can access and remember again. So it's all so simple when we get back to who we are and why we're here.
And it's so true what you're saying. That's the solution, right?
Yeah.
Because that's literally where the alchemy of spirit lies, is to take that negative thought, idea, whatever, and really, and it goes back to what I was saying yesterday when you were saying trauma, lack of water, lack of food, and lack of, what was the other one? Can't remember. Sleep, exactly. Sleep deprivation are the 4 main things that is where they manipulate and learn to control. So it's exactly that. Now we know that. And all of us have been subjected, if we are on this earth and we're listening to this podcast, all of us have been subjected to some type of mind trauma, control, construct, whatever it might be, from the powers that be. We know this now. So then it's like about taking, for me, that's where it begins to do it practically, is take exactly that stuff. Where am I not drinking enough water? Now go and drink a lot of water. Whether you've been in traumatized or not, it's about thinking for yourself. They don't want us to have water. Okay, let me go and double up on my water. They want us to be traumatized. So where am I traumatizing my own thoughts, my own minds, is it by the stuff I'm watching? Is it by the stuff I keep repeating? Am I keep going into relationships where I get traumatized or whatever it might be? Where am I creating my own trauma, and how can I change that, right? Where am I depriving myself of enough sleep? Sitting up all night doing things while I really should be sleeping, right? And then obviously, where am I not eating correctly? Where can I improve in nourishing my body? At the end of the day, we like plants, just highly evolved plants. Put us in the right environment, feed us, water us, nourish us, love us, and we thrive, right? So for me, that would be some of the first practical steps that you were talking about yesterday, that we get out of this traumatic situation we're in. What are we surrounding ourselves with? What are we listening to? Who are the people? Am I in a dead-end job and am I hating it every day to go and spend 8 hours there? Well, maybe now's the time to think about something different. Let's see what opens up, right? Stuff like that, just to do the opposite of what we've been programmed to do. Yeah.
Exactly. And if we get out in our communities and talk to each other eye to eye, heart to heart, and soul to soul, we can encourage reclaiming control over our own areas, our own environment, our own communities, where like if we have writing by hand back in the school system, it stops the indoctrination of children. If the children are taught how to nourish the soil in order to grow healthy food, and there's so many schools now opening up with gardens so that the children get out, get their feet in the earth, get their hands in the earth, feel the sun on their skin. These are important aspects of thinking that we need to get back into all aspects of life, so it's good to see that happening. Every safe house that I have seen open up, it either has the animal therapy or the gardening, with the organic gardening in place, usually both, because it's such an important part of reclaiming our humanity. It's something we all need to do. If we're in a big city, then we need to find a way to be able to open a window and plant some herbs. Anything that we can do to realign with nature, realigns with our nature, realigns with our humanity, and gives us the ability to not only heal, but to start living life the way that it was intended to be lived.
Exactly. PTSD, Time to Heal. Where is that? Is that a book available on? I know it's a book. Sorry, is it on your website? Can people get it on Amazon? Where can people get hold of that book if they want to read it? Because I think that is so important. It's exactly. I mean, if that's the information that was hidden and covered, and Mark literally uncovered that, and that's what's been the key to your healing, and that's available for us, then I think every single person has to get a copy of that. You simply have to. Not even, I mean, it's not even pertaining to victims of abuse, right? Are we just talking people,
Everyone,
normal, everyday people? Yeah.
Everyone, everywhere. I posted it on my website at trance-formation.com, TRANCE-formation.com. I posted it in ebook form so that everyone can have it. When Mind Control Masters, a virus, was unleashed on the global population, it was clear that everyone everywhere was going to need to remember their self-control, because everyone's been manipulated now. So I made it available there with a pay what you can, if you can option, because everyone should have it regardless of income. And it's there that way. So it's secured there with the pay what you can option. It's also available on Amazon. It's available in ebook, Audible, and hard copy. It's also signed copies are also available on my website. Again, finally, I've secured the information there too. So yeah, it's for everyone, everywhere, and I encourage everyone, pick it up. And if nothing else, if someone is already completely aligned and they got it all, then it may give them some insight in how to help others to be able to be more understanding and compassionate of others, and to make a positive difference for them too.
Are you working on any new materials at the moment?
I am. I've got the PTSD. I want to do a Time to Heal for kids. The Time to Heal Kids is going to be geared their direction for the ones who can't write yet, the ones who just simply need to pick up that crayon. You know, same thing, but the words need to be put in motion. So I'm working on that. I've got the poetry that I invented while healing that includes my collages that are also a reflection of the subconscious that help me heal. These methods are in PTSD Time to Heal too, but I've got that ready for publication. And I'm working on another healing aspect, that missing piece of the puzzle that so many survivors seem to forget, align with the divine. And it will be a reminder that these capabilities, these heightened senses that we have are ours to use, and they're a blessing that we've had all along. So I've got a lot of information. I'm ready to get it out as soon as I have the funds. I'm going to be getting those out there. It's time. It's past time. It's just a matter of going through the motions now and making it available.
Well, I mean, that sounds, I love the align with the divine. I mean, the kids, I mean, wow, that's amazing. And is that available in book for the kids? Is that available already or not yet?
Not yet. It will be very soon.
Okay, that's fantastic. Are you offering courses on that? Anything like that?
I'm on the verge of offering those courses, and I'll make that connection through my website. That's another thing in the works right now. There's so many beautiful doors opening, and I'm so excited that this is happening, because it's going to ultimately reach more people, empower more people, and keep the word spreading.
Absolutely, indeed. Wow. If there was one thing you could say to us all at this point from your experience, and I know a lot of people like myself have not been in the system, it's horrifying for us to hear these stories. It really is. I think people who've grown up with it, it kind of becomes a sad reality if you're experiencing it every day. So, and I know a lot of people go, oh my gosh, this, and oh, I can't look at that, and I can't see it. And, you know, for the people waking up, it is a very traumatic thing. It really is, to, you know, when people start realizing and the truth hits them that this has been what's going on. What would be your advice for people like that? Because, I mean, I'm 5 years down the line with this already, and being a healer, I've heard many tragic things before, but there are those who have not. And I think we speak about this a lot. It's that cognitive dissonance. And whether we like it or not, I don't think we should be making fun of people who are waking up and calling them sheeple and stuff
Right.
like that, right? What would you say to those waking up? And I think a lot of people, our viewers as well, feel frustrated because they feel so alone in their journey right now and are trying to share this stuff with people around them who are not anywhere near listening or hearing. And it is that time of kind of teeter, right? It's like the tipping point now. So what would you say to us on that?
Absolutely, it's within us all to heal. And that's the most important aspect for people to realize, because when they realize that, they're going to be able to accept the reality of what's going on with the children and be able to start effectively helping. But it begins with each and every one of us going within. So PTSD, time to heal. Everyone can apply it to themselves. Get over their fears and traumas, rise above that negativity, see the clear path forward, and in their process will fully realize, oh, that's just natural, it's within us all. And then they'll understand that everyone is healing. We're at a pivotal point in humanity's history and in humanity's future. It's an amazing time to be alive. We're all here for a reason and a purpose, and it begins by aligning with the divine within so that we can connect with exactly where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing. When we heal from within, we don't need anyone else to validate our truth for us. We already know our own truth. When we don't need validation, we stop looking outside ourselves for it. We stop being disappointed that people aren't paying attention. We stop that none of that matters anymore because we're too busy living the love we are, making the positive difference, living our purpose, remembering who we are and why we're here. And that makes it so much easier to move through this transitional period that we're in right now and realize that, hey, the victory is already ours. We forgot our victory. It's just time to reclaim it. We need to reclaim it now for the children's sake, to stop these crimes against humanity from happening, to find our peace within so that we can bring about the world peace that we all long for. War is also one thing that traumatizes us all. And it's because it's against our innate nature. You know, it's against who we really are. So as you're going through your process, be patient with yourself. Realize it's a process. It's a victory already won. Get out in nature, pet your dog, walk your dog, you know, and breathe in the air. Feel the sun on your skin. Yeah, it's all so simple. It's all right there for us. It's time to embrace it, and it's time to embrace each other. This is our time to shine.
Absolutely. I love that. Katerina, just before I go further, I just want to say I did actually ask Cathy this question yesterday, and Cathy's answer was simply, Cathy, do you want to repeat that for me?
What was the...
Oh, do you want to put that up again?
No, I can't. My vision's not...
Ah, gosh, sorry. Okay,
I can't see it on
no worries, no worries. She was just saying, Katerina was just saying, does Cathy think that you can only find healing from the system through Jesus, or through love and inner peace is also possible?
It's semantically the same, isn't it? It should be, you know, I mean,
exactly.
Ultimately that's, I use align with the divine because it encompasses all the words that people use for the exact same thing. And it's all about the strength of the human spirit, that infinite power of love. It's all about aligning with source, aligning with truth, aligning with the divine within. So whatever word we use, it's all the same and it's all natural.
So true. It's all love. It is all about love. And when you have that love, and it's so true, you know, all of those obstacles within you dissolve. And exactly, and I love the answer you gave. There was a specific reason I asked you the question, with a lot of people feeling frustrated because those around them don't seem to be hearing and understanding or listening. And it's so true. It's that time for you to live the love you are. And it starts with yourself. If you're feeling that conflict with others, that's because you are not aligned with the divine. And you're still needing exactly their validation, approval, whatever it might be, acceptance, whatever it might be. But when you have it and you know that your relationship with God, source, divine creator is there, no one can challenge that ever. You just know what you know, what you know. And as you said, it's like that encompassing, that align with the divine. It speaks volumes. There are no words that can describe it unless you are aligned with the divine. And it doesn't make you feel like you're high on drugs every day. It just makes you feel like you're in control of your life. You can move forward. You've got the divine's backing. You're working. You're moving through tricky situations like on a knife's edge, and you killing it, right, Cathy? How would you describe that feeling of being aligned with the divine?
It's an absolute truth. It's such a freedom. It's so much peace. It's so much joy. It's being free of the past, intruding on the present, and the future looking bright with promise. It's such a beautiful space to be in, and I am confident it's the way life was intended to be lived, because it's the essence of our humanity.
Totally, absolutely, 100%. Live the love that I am. And when you have that, you can't help but smile at the lady at the checkout counter when her face is mizzy. Maybe you want to give her something to smile about. I love doing that. And I'll always buy them a chocolate, always, at the ladies at the checkout counters. They work so hard. They work so hard. They really do. And there's like just people streaming through. And I'm like, did anyone give you chocolate today? No, ma'am. I go, well, here's one. Just to see someone, just put a smile on their face. It's nothing big at all. It's just something that someone actually thought about you and noticed that you working hard in this instance, right? So there's so many little things we can do. And when we feel that happiness within us, that radiance, there's no option but to walk down the street or drive in your car and be that little bumble of light, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's how we're supposed to live. And in that process, we're able to see where the wrongs are and make them right, instead of
Yes.
closing our eyes to it. Like, I'm already overwhelmed, I can't deal with that. We're ready to embrace truth, whatever it may be, in order to shine that light and expose the darkness and expose dark secrets and make a positive difference. It's our time.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and it's so true you say that, because my mom has got early stages of dementia, and I'm here with her. I have other very supportive siblings as well. We all take care of her very well, but they're not living in the area. But it's so challenging having your mom, who's been this vibrant powerhouse, and suddenly this past year has just become almost childlike. And there would be times I'd find myself getting impatient with her. And then I would have to go back and say, what is it? And really all the time is that I just can't accept this is happening to my mom. And that's the truth. So the truth is that we put up so many defenses in us where we'd rather fight the situation and project our own fears onto it. And she's forgetting her keys and coming here and telling me I'm going into a house in the middle of the night and I took her keys. I'm going, Mommy, I didn't do that. Like, don't accuse me, you know. And immediately, instead of getting defensive, I'm like, no, let's rather go and look at where they could be. I must have forgotten I went there last night, so let me see where I put them. And it's such a different way of understanding that, from being at war with the idea that my mother is losing her memory and she's getting dementia, the reality of that is my defense mechanisms, that I will react in a impatient way sometimes and have to take a deep breath and pull my hair and go, okay, let's go. But really authentically seeing now that it's my fears. And that's what I was finding hard to embrace, was my fears that this is my mother not being herself anymore. And I think I love what you said about that acceptance, and to see that we are the love, because being impatient with someone who is clearly very scared to be losing her memory, right, is not constructive at all. It's not being kind. And then it's not even a fight or a hassle or a friction between she's wrong, I'm right, but understanding it's love. It's love that's going to give us the solutions, both of us, the solutions. So that was very interesting.
Beautiful. That's so wise of you to go to the reality of what's causing the reactions, because the reactions can be so deeply rooted all the way back in childhood, when you're accused of something and it's like, no, I didn't, you know, or when you're a little kid and it's still your mom. And so, you know, the things that it can tap into on the defensiveness of that is so deeply rooted, and it's rooted in the love, in the innocence of your childhood. So to have to reframe that is the ultimate love, and it takes a depth of understanding and wisdom and and care, compassion that that you obviously have, you know, to be able to do that. And that's such a beautiful example of what we all need to do and how we all need to respond, instead of responding with our own conditioning, to look at what's really going on. I find so often that if something's made me, you know, angry, if I feel angry about something, I need to find out what's really bothering me. And every time I find it's something, I just need to cry, you know, that I'm upset over something else going on. You know, it's the way our emotions can get so tangled unless we become authentic and real, know our own truth, live our love, and sort through it before we react, you know. And we don't want to just act out based on the past. We need to all slow down and come from a place of love, and that's going to be able to make us all our more authentic selves, to be able to deal with whatever life puts in our path, whatever we're experiencing, because the magnitude of what you're experiencing now is something that shouldn't even be. It's just not. It shouldn't be in our world, you know. So just keep living that love and knowing the source of the response mechanisms, you know, and that's just so beautiful. What a shining light you are in so many ways.
Oh, Cathy. Well, from the beacon of light, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Your mama must have raised you right.
Well, she clearly must have done something. She made us all strong. She knew we were going to have to be taking care of her at the bitter end. And I'm the most unlikely of all of her children to be taking on this task. It's amazing, actually. It's amazing. I was like the biggest rebel in the family, right? Like
Good.
rebelling against my parents. I really wasn't bad, okay. But I was just like cheeky and like, don't tell me what to do, and like hanging out with my friends, and, like refusing to do stuff. That's the kind of stuff, right? But never in a million years did I think my mother, and I said to her the other day, I said, Mommy, do you remember when I was 5 and you wouldn't let me go swimming? She goes, no, I don't. I said, guess who's got the car keys now, Mommy? It was so funny. I said, beautiful. I'm in charge now, behave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and that's lovely. And I must say, I know there are quite a few people going through stuff like that, and I know because I have conversations with a lot of people about this, and it's so interesting. I was a single mom, and when I was having my healing practice and raising my son, I had so many single moms come into my practice as well, right? And we would really share, we learned from each other. And now it's interesting, with so many of my friends are going through similar stuff with looking after a parent or being responsible for them or something. And what's really healing as well, and I have to say, I have a great relationship. I mean, we're 6 siblings, okay? I have a great relationship with all of them. Make no mistake, we can get sassy with each other every now and again. But at the end of the day, our mother comes first. We put her first with everything. And that for us has been very healing, because we are all able to talk through our emotions regarding watching our mother decline in front of our eyes. Yeah. And that's, I've found in my healing journey, has been a very difficult process for families to deal with, is at times like this. They often splinter apart and have arguments and fight about this and fight about that. But I must say, with us, we've pulled together. And that is something I want to just say to anyone out there, if you're going through anything like this, this is a time for your family to make peace, your family to come together, because it's that family unit they've tried to break down. Gosh, I just got goosebumps now. The family unit has been the first thing they try to break down. And in MK Ultra, right, is that division, that dividing, conquering, that trauma bonding, whatever. Many families are trauma bonded. And it's so important to be able to recognize at times like this, if you are trauma bonded to your family or siblings or parents, even if they're still here or deceased. But this is really so important, to go back to reconnecting with your family. And if you have elderly parents, God, please go and reconnect with your parents. That's where the healing, you came from them, and it should end there as well, peacefully, at ease. I don't know, what do you say to that?
That's an extremely important message. Look at how many families were deliberately torn apart by the mind control masters of virus when it was unleashed on the global population 2020. That there were families torn apart because there were people who were buying into the media narrative and afraid that the ones who weren't buying into it were going to die, and the others were, don't buy into that narrative, you'll die. So it was love for each other ultimately, but it tore families apart because of what was believed, who was fearful, who was not. And people need to understand each other on what happened. When we understand that kind of manipulation, all of a sudden we're able to bring families together again. And it's important that everybody go through that process and realize exactly what you were just saying. It was just such an important time for everybody, whether it's what happened during mind control masters of virus, or if it's because of the results of it, and those who got injections who do have dementia, or if dementia came from other directions. And no matter what is affecting our thinking and our ability, love is so much stronger than anything that our minds are led to believe. So we need to get back to that love. When we live the love we are, families will reunite. And that's just where what is needed now, because our families have been under attack for a long, long time. It's such a basic part of our humanity.
Absolutely. And how traumatic has that been? Even if you've had a fight with, I hear this so often. If they've had a fight with a sibling and she's dead to me and I haven't seen her for 15 years, yet every time she speaks about her, this fire comes up in her voice. And I'm going, well, babe, she's not dead. That's the truth of the matter. She's not dead. So let's first just make peace with that. And that's where your pain lies, into trying to believe that someone is dead and believing in your mind that you've forgotten them, and is not true. It's always something. These people that give us the most trauma will always have something in us that triggers us that we need to heal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Healing is not nice. It's not cushy and fluffy and full of ice candy and lollipops. It's painful. It's raw. It's scary sometimes. But when you allow yourself and you find someone, and I would advise that you find a healer that you trust to help you through the initial stages. But thereafter, it's a journey you take on your own, and it's you and your creator. You know, that for me is beautiful. When you get that just slot in, and from there you grow. That to me is beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's everybody needs that. You're so wise.
Mirror. Mirror, Cathy. Mirror. You're my mirror right now. Lovely. Okay, ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us on another beautiful, beautiful, beautiful show with the awesome Cathy O'Brien. Cathy, do you want to give them a little sneak peek of what we have in store for the future about what we spoke about yesterday? Align with the divine. Or shall we keep them
I'm very
in
much
suspense?
looking forward to releasing that, because we all have such healing capacity within us. We align with the divine. We have an ability to heal our bodies. We can have control over our own well-being. We're meant to be healthy. We were made perfect. We got a resiliency of the body, mind, and spirit. And the mind has so much power over our bodies that Align with the Divine reminds us of that capability. It reminds us of our heightened intuitions, and to utilize those, to use them in our discernment and everything else. So I've written a series of examples, you know, on how it's used in my life every day, so that people will, oh, of course, and they'll remember, and then they'll start to understand their own brain function and exercise it again and appreciate it. You know, when we think of somebody and the phone rings and it's them, you know, was that coincidence? Was that manifestation? Was it telepathy? What was that? You know, start exercising it. Connect with your pet, you know, like when your dog comes up and tells you mentally it wants to walk and you respond to it, then they get excited. It's like, I heard you hear me, and they know, and they get excited. So you can start exercising that and say, well, I'm going to finish this and I'll be there in a minute. And you can start elaborating on your answer, and they'll get it. They'll understand. They'll be patient. They'll wait. But the minute you set down that pen, the minute you shut off your computer, they're ready to go. They know what you said. So, you know, exercise those. Have fun with it, because they're teaching us to align with each other again, to be able to connect with each other on that level. There's so many beautiful miracles to embrace, to realize the power of dreams, the abilities that we have of bringing vibrational energies to us. When we live love, love is all around. You know, it's a vibrational frequency. We need to tune into all that. And so I'm looking forward to that, releasing this aspect, because it's a anchor. It's such a deep anchor for healing when we align with the divine and live all those gifts that are associated with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So true. And guys, I might be able to convince Cathy to do something with us on the show with that.
Yeah,
That she says yes.
for
Look
sure.
at you laughing. Look at you laughing. Oh, wonderful. Oh, that has been so fun. And I want to just again say thank you so much, Joanne and Janine, for your super chats. Really, really, really appreciate you guys and everyone for joining us this evening. If you missed our show last night, Cathy and myself, it was on Aquarius Rising Africa. And a really great show. Cathy speaks to us more about the MK Ultra, unpacking it more, that sort of thing. And then, of course, today was the healing, because, of course, once we unpack that, the next step is the solution to that, which is what we've hopefully achieved this weekend. Cathy, thank you so much. And I so look forward to having you back again. We know you're coming back. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Thank you. I appreciate this so much. You know, the awareness that you're raising is making all the difference in the world. I feel like this truth vibration has raised the whole vibration of the planet, where more and more people are waking up to embrace truth. And it's a wonderful time to get to be doing that. Thank you for giving me voice today. And I look forward to all that we share in the future.
Indeed. And we love your voice. We definitely love your voice. And on that note, what a voice.